Gender diversity is a key business issue for Logica, largely from my perspective as a board member, because it's important to shareholders. There's a number of studies, Catalyst, Harvard, others that have shown that companies that have diversity within the leadership and within the ranks, so to speak, and at the board level, tend to have better return on investments, better profit on a comparison with like-for-like companies. And these are not small differentials, or as much as 50% greater returns. So as an investor, you've got to have a keen interest in making sure you're going with companies that are going to give you the best results. And Logica wants to be those companies. I think the idea of quotas is absolutely horrible. I hate the idea of it. However, I'm not sure there's a good second choice. And my logic to this kind of changed after many, many years of fighting it. My logic began to change when I started thinking about equal pay legislation. We have that in place, and it's kind of the same logic. So why do we have equal pay legislation? Because the thing about it, whether you're a man, a woman, whether, what color you are, what nationality you are, whatever, you want to get your position based on your talents and your merits. And if there's a system, whether it's a social or environmental system that's keeping you from getting there for your merits, sometimes we need some help doing that. Now, I do like guidelines and comply or explain, because I just look forward to people explaining why it is they don't have really great women, because I know it's not because there aren't great women out there to do the jobs. And there's a really great blog I read this last weekend where this woman did 2 interviews in a day, one with a man and one with a woman, and basically said, "What do you think about the issue of gender?" And the guy said, it's not a problem. It's all about meritocracy. And the woman said, "It's a big problem. It's all about meritocracy." And and you're arguing the same thing, but it's from 2 different perspectives. Yes. And so it's fascinating. I think for Logica to have the best mentoring program, it needs to make sure it's educating itself about the successes and failures of a lot of the mentoring programs that have been around in other companies and have been studied at universities and things like that around mentoring. And one of the things that we have found is that, generally speaking, that men mentoring women is often not as effective because of the men don't have that same experience. But by the same token, a woman who is not having coaching or, most importantly, sponsorship from the men in positions of power are unlikely to advance. So part of my advice to women is, find, a number of mentors that can help you on a number of things. Find ones that can help sponsor you into roles. Find ones that can help you understand what it's like to be a woman in that circumstance. Find one that, if one of the things that's important in your job is being a great salesperson, find a great mentor of any gender, age, nationality, or whatever that can help you with that. So don't just think about a single mentor relationship. Think about effectively a series of relationships that help you develop into the best you can be. One of my favorite things to say is the unintended consequences that we actually end up somewhere, somehow, getting an incompetent woman in a position of power. And when we have just as many incompetent women as we have incompetent men, we will have then achieved equality.